the best preserved example I've ever seen of a Chinook Pepa grave marker that's in the Museum of Vancouver, apparently. I had not known there were any in places like that. And that's very exciting. Most of them that we have pictures of were already 80 years old, 70, 80 years old by the time that anyone found them to document them. So they're harder to make out. Of course, we just have this one photo at the moment, and it suffers from magnification. It's not helping much. But it says apparently Thomas Dick, which is a family name in this particular community. Yaka Mimulus Copa, October 5, 1898.
Wow.
It's from an interior BC community. It's a very typical example of the genre. This kind of illustration, like a flower in a pot, is often seen on these. But because this is the best, preserved example ever, it's got these valuable non-linguistic attributes. It's got this what do you call it, kind of a tongue, right? There's some word for that people more expert than I in woodworking and stuff would know. Like it's like a mortise and tenon sort of thing, maybe. At any rate, it shows how these wooden grave markers were stuck into the ground and so forth. There used to be quite a few of these in southern interior BC communities, and it's really remarkable to have stumbled across one that was somehow put into a museum when it was relatively new and legible and so forth. So I was coming into this meeting. I'm sorry, sick dum dum naga.
Did Alex discover this then? The museum?
He had found some nice old newspaper articles. He's a pretty great researcher. But just looking into this particular article, I thought, well, gosh, they mentioned this marker having been collected by the curator of this museum in Vancouver. So I thought, gosh, maybe it's findable. And sure enough, it's not just in the collection, but they've got an image there that I was able to find. The strange thing, though, is the punchline of it. The metadata on this object are different from what's in the newspaper article Alex sent. So maybe there's 2 of these or more of these markers in the museum in Vancouver. So something, to follow up on. Very interesting bit of research there.
Fantastic. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, I have only by one means or another, I've only come up with maybe 40, maybe a maximum of 50 of these objects. Not all images of the objects in the list, but there was a community leader who sent me, I think I've mentioned this to you guys, he sent me his best attempt at transcribing what was on a bunch of grave markers in his community, and I was able to decipher most of those. That was probably, as I recall, about 25 of these. So I haven't seen those, but I've seen his transcription, and it was ultimately legible.
Can you share which community, Dave?
Well, this is, let me think here. It's primarily, um, the ethnicity would be Stlaklim people,
Uh, uh, what community? Whereabouts are they?
Right. I'm giving privilege of
Oh,
placement to the
oh,
to the native. Now I'll tell you, right?
oh, okay, fair enough.
Folks more often know, outsiders would know them as sort of Lillooet Salish people,
Okay, fair enough. Okay. Yep.
upper and lower Lillooet, and verging into the neighboring. There's a border territory with the Secwepemc people where you find some of these markers as well.
Yeah, well, I truly hope it survived the wildfires up there.
Well, gosh knows.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's a sad thought.
yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
a lot of this cultural property may have been obliterated. Um, and I want to acknowledge that sharing an image of one of these markers in itself might be a pretty sensitive act. So
Okay.
Yeah.
there it
There's no
is.
two ways around it. That was, wasn't collected, it was stolen.
I believe, yeah. I mean, the newspaper article really makes it sound like this curator just sort of availed himself of this
Yeah.
object without asking anyone.
Hmm.
So, yeah. In the article I'm writing, I put in a link to the repatriation page of the museum, and I put in a link to the local First Nation. And, maybe somebody will want to do something. For what it's worth. Today, though, I believe we are on reading day, and we can certainly come into the Francois Tsagatilao story that we've been doing, which is why I'm distracted by finding it in my computer, bringing it up, and finding our place in it. Let's see, there's a January, there's a February, there's a March. Ah. All right, so if there's no objection, I can just bring up that story and get us back into it. We were at a place where Tsagatilao was helping this kidnapped woman escape from the Bear Clan, the Bear people, who she had been married into more or less against her will. They've gotten in Tsagatilao's canoe, and he has sent his club across the water, his spirit-powered club that swims through the water and kills bear people. I think there's something about the canoe diving. It's a pretty special canoe. Let's see with that where we are. And I'll just back it up a scooch to check. Yeah, he threw his club into the water. Aha, right. So we have not officially learned that Yaka it Bully Kopachuk, that the club traveled through the water. Never tire of telling you, Kuli in northern dialect typically means travel, motion, more than it means to run. And okay, so the club traveled through the water. You could clap a bear. It caught or reached a certain bear. Oko Klutzman Ankati husband, that woman's former husband. This too is good jargon when you're talking about someone's personal relative, their kin. You can leave out the yaka when you use you make it a possessed form, so that woman's old husband, you don't have to say necessarily Oko Klutzman Yaka Ankati husband. This is fine. kind of thing you do find in reality. Oko Klutzman Ankati husband. And the club, Yaka Mamuk Memlust. So it killed, with the understanding that it killed him. We have this interpolation of pidgin style English off and on in the story, which the narrator genuinely spoke. And so we have Yaka bite, Yaka throat. So the club, it bit his throat. And just to point out, why do I call that pidgin English? Well, you know, it's not in sort of standard English past tense, right? Although we understand the story to be past tense, it's not saying Yaka bit, Yaka throat. It's Yaka bite, Yaka throat in the kind of uninflected verb form, quite similar to how Chinagwawa works.
Dave, did you see the note from Luzny and now from Jessica as well?
What's in chat?
I
I think we've done this section. There's one
Have
more
we?
marker you have in the text.
Oh, did my
We're-
search function?
We're in March
not-
26 right now. We should be
Let's
somewhere in
see.
April.
Let's see. I have a whole lot of these markers because it's such an enormous document.
Good catch, Lisney.
Yes, thank you. Hey, look, April.
That.
Nice to know one
Okay.
of us is paying attention.
Thank you. Right, and I've been through the document so many times. I couldn't tell whether I'd gone over it with you. Okay, Hayumasi. It was Michael Wawa. Okay, so yes. All right, so we had right. My goodness, I've been so busy with other things. I forgot they had gotten to Tsagatilao's home, and this woman he's helped escape is now effectively his newest, youngest wife. There's an older, I'm going to say gnarly wife. She's very scary. And the young woman has been warned, if you hear her eating, don't look, don't open your eyes. So there's something dangerous and interesting there. Okay, P Tsagopolikli, all right, P Chakopolikli, when it came to be night, old flutes Yaka get up. Straight jargon there. The old woman got up or woke up. Yaka Hayu Makmak seal. Seal being a normal northern dialect word. So she was eating seal. Z. Okok Tsagatilao abbreviated. Tski or Tski or Tski Klutzman. Again, without the possessive marker, notice that, right? What we might consider a standard way to say it, you would be taught by a teacher nowadays of jargon, would be Oko Tsagatilao Yaka Tski Klutzman. You know, that Tsagatilao's new woman. At any rate, when you're talking about your relative, you can leave out the yaka for many old-time fluent jargon speakers. Well, Tsagatilao Tski Klutzman Halo sleep. She wasn't sleeping, she was awake. That is how you say awake, Halo sleep in northern dialect, you know. Hilu Musum in the south. Kwansum Yaka Hayu Kamtax. She kept on hearing, right? Always she much hear. Kwansum Yaka Hayu Kamtax Yaka old woman Hayu Makmak. She kept hearing his old wife eating. Aldo okok tanas slotsman yakatiki kamtax. Now that younger woman, she wanted to know onus ikta hayas chago makmak. Onus ikta hayas chago makmak. A nice chago pronunciation there, similar to Grand Rond. So maybe something big comes to eat. Maybe something big had come to eat, right? Pretty clear description of what she's wondering, what it sounds like to her when the old lady eats. Yaka tanas open, yaka eyes. And again, the influence here of the kind of pidgin English that you get more in the north. Yaka tanas open, yaka eyes. If anybody would like to jump in, some of you know Southern dialect fairly well and old school jargon pretty well. This little sentence, how would you maybe say it in older or Southern style? Just to show how different that is from BC.
Would you say Mamo Kalak instead of open?
P yaga eyes.
Siahus?
Pikagwa, Kanui Kanamax, Kata Maikawawa. Kanui Ogo.
I don't know if the grammar would be any different. But if it's not, I suppose it would be Yaka Tanas Mama Kalak Yaka Siahus.
Kawa. Yeah, I would think, same grammar, just fine. It's just that you so often have the difference in words in the north. Yaka old woman, yaka gum ducks. I need to do a page break. Sorry for the suspense. So we can highlight everything together. Okay, yaka old woman, yaka gum ducks. Kanwe yaka mak mak. So his old wife, she knew or perceived Kanwe yaka mak mak. She was eating everything. Right. And again, very, very classic fluent Chinookwawa grammar where you have this focusing, right? You say first the thing that you want to focus. So Kanui Yakamakmak, she was eating everything. We do it with tone of voice more in English, Northwest English. We just kind of raise our voice. She was eating everything. In jargon, though, it's Kanui Yakamakmak. Kanwiakamak. Hello, Flatwa Kopakikuli. Where are we? Now, yeah, let's just stick with that bit alone. Hello, Flatwa Kopakikuli. And so taking that at face value, no overt subject, no subject is said. So what if you just assume, okay, yeah, that's a normal silent it subject. So it didn't go down. And this is about her eating, right? So we use the ever popular Chinookwawa context trick of inferring, well, oh, what's this? It, not, well, she's eating. So, oh, the food didn't go down her throat. Kadwi. And this is a little unclear to me, the word that Boaz is writing as leska, Hanwe leska pat kupayaka throat. And it may be the seals that she's eating are referred to with this animate pronoun, right? Tlaska, they. That's my best understanding of it, right? This woman who's somehow able to eat entire seals. Well, they're filling up her throat or her neck. Old Lutzman Yakadlet Salix. The old wife or old woman was really angry. Yaka kuli ka yaka sleep okoptenis Lutzman. Right? I should be letting you guys talk more, but I mean, so much of this is given to you right on the screen if you're able to read 4 or 5 lines at a time anyway. So yeah, yaka kuli ka yaka sleep. She ran where she was sleeping, that young woman was. Yaka bite, then a silent pronoun here. Yaka bite kopanek. Pretty obvious, right? Again, the sort of Pidgin English contribution, right? Yaka bite, yaka neck, whereas more traditional Southern dialect, something like yaka muck muck, kopa yaka laku, yaka memlosh, yaka memlosh. Well, who died? Probably the young lady, right? Here again, I think that we do keep seeing Professor Boas having some confusion between wake, the negative word, and this what looks like wacht, the word for again. So here, wacht saya Chaco Shan. That's the, Tsimshian accent for sun. Tsako Shan instead of Chaco San that we're used to. But yeah, if this really is the word for again, does this make any sense? Again, far came the sun or the day. Well, much more common in a story is that you would hear Wiksaya Chaco San. Wiksaya, right? It was almost dawn. It's a pretty common expression. So I do think that this spelling here is a mistake for wake, the negative. Not far coming sun. Tsagatilao, abbreviated, Kelapai. Tsagatilao came back. Let's see here. Oh, sure. So just to kind of bracket the whole expression here. Tsagatilao Kelapai, Tsagatilao Yaka house. So the silent preposition trick, the no preposition trick, which again is fluent jargon with like sort of motion verbs and such. You can return house in jargon just as valid as returning to the house. Piyaka ask, yaka old foodsman, again, a very standard BC jargon word, ask. Piyaka ask, yaka old foodsman, he asked his old wife. And here's what he asks, I guess. Kata naika flutsman. How is my woman? How is she? Yaka old flutsman answer. Again, BC word. For those who are maybe watching the recording of this, hearing me say for the first time, BC jargon has quite a lot of more newly borrowed words from English that are more precise than some old jargon words. And so in older jargon and Southern jargon, you'd have just the word wawa for both ask and answer. Well, in BC, we genuinely do have ask, and for some folks, you have the verb answer from English. There's also the, Kelapai wawa, which is shared with Southern jargon. her hands. Return talk. Well, okay, here's what the old lady says, right? Oh, yeah, Katlush. Oh, she's fine. Yeah, can sleep. Another, BC word, as opposed to the Southern Musum. And then here's some we ran into before. It's coming up again to, prove what we thought we saw. The old lady refers to the younger wife as Okoknaika Ao. Here, let me just highlight that. Okoknaika Ao. And in Southern jargon and traditional jargon, Ao is it's the word for brother, maybe specifically younger brother. This story keeps using the word in Northern dialect as any sibling. It's women referring to each other. Okoknaika Ao is my sibling. So Yaka sleep Okoknaika Ao. Yakawawa, the old lady.
Tsimshian has some pretty complicated words for older and younger siblings and cousins on your mother's side or your father's side, and that could even be affecting how they use the language as well.
Mm-hmm. I would think, yeah. I have not seen this specific usage, from anybody but this story narrator. Yeah. And so then you do have the likelihood of sort of that person's, specifics of their personal background playing a role in their word choices. But it is understandable to us at any rate. And again, useful to point out, what's sort of things we see all the time in BC jargon versus stuff we are seeing for the first time. And this Ao as genderless or, non-gendered word for sibling is new to us. It's new to us. Tsagatilao abbreviated here. It's our subject of the sentence. Tsagatilao yaka gamtax yaka mamok memelosh. Tsagatilao, he knew she had made dead the silent pronoun. I have a feeling we got a page break right there. I see a page number, so come down here. Alta Tsagatilao Kole Kametlite Oko Tski Klutzman. Let's just do that much. Tsagatilao ya Kole Kametlite Kopa Oko Tski Klutzman. I have an asterisk here because it's a bit unclear in the manuscript to my eyes. But so Tsagatilao, in this case, this might be literally ran, we would think, given the circumstances, his emotions, not just vaguely traveled, where was located. And then this be like at, so it's weird. That new woman. The Copa might be, of course, it could be the narrator kind of having a false start moment as he talks, or it could be Boas misrecording. We do have evidence that I've pointed out, Boas was not a perfect secretary. And Yaka, Yaka Ap Yaka Memelosh. Briefly drawing your attention to the underlining on the TL in Tlap. That's so great. In 1886 or so, Boas is doing a pretty good job being the first person to clearly represent this Northwest Coast sound by underlining, showing, hey, this is not just a TL, whatever you think that is. It's an underlined TL, you guys. I think there's significance to it. He found her dead. He found she was dead. Tsagatilao yaka dlet, and then it's crossed out sick to give us a more accurate pronunciation record here. Shik dum dum, and this speaker does do that, kind of alternation between what linguists sometimes call sibilants and shibilants. So instead of sick, we have shik. Tsagatilao yaka dlet shik dum dum. Right? He was very upset. He was very sad. Yaka klai alta. That's straight jargon, simple sentence. He cried now. Yaka wawa. He said, Kopa ankati yaka fluidsman. Right? He said to that old time wife of his, ankati fluidsman. Halo naika es kamkanwe seal otter kopa maika mukmuk. I'm not going to get all those seals and otters for your food. Allow me to show you another beautiful point of jargon grammar. It's not just BC. When you have a list of things that you're saying, and they're a natural grouping, there's in a single category, and the speaker and the listener both know it. You don't use the word P to connect them together. You don't say this, P, oko, P, oko, P, oko. And instead you do this. You say, kanui seal, otter, kopa maika makma. So no word for and. Before I say this sentence to you, like in Kamloops, Wawa, for instance, it's very common to see people say, or in indigenous letters from BC, folks referring to Nika Papa, Nika Mama, rather than saying Nika Papa, P Nika Mama. Folks just say Nika Papa, Nika Mama. No word for and. Alrighty, Nika Kapitalta. Nika Kapitalta. I'm done now, he says. Yaka tsako pulikli. That's kind of weird. Normally you hear people just say tsako pulikli, chako pulikli, came night. But we do have this variation in the third person pronouns for jargon speakers, including this one. So he threw in a yaka to refer to the inanimate thing, night. Yaka tlatwa, sleep. Literally, he or they went to bed, because yaka can be plural in its meaning. That's a normal part of the jargon in the, back in the day. Ukok ankati flutsman yaka skookum, sleep. So that old time wife, she was, sound asleep, right? She was powerfully sleeping. Fire, yaka chago kopayaka labus. Wuch yaka I. Huh? Ouch. Paya, yaka chagu, yaka labus, wuch yaka I. Again, there's no word for and here, to her mouth, also her eye. It doesn't say and in there. So the fire, came to her mouth caught fire, also her eyes. Tsagatilao, and page break here. Tsagatilao yaka gamtaks yaka schuchem, sleep. Again, a pretty sort of local indigenous accent on the, skookum here. Schuchem. Tsagatilao yaka gamtaks yaka schuchem, sleep. So Tsagatilao could tell, or he knew, she was sound asleep, powerfully sleeping. Yeka kuli, kanamakst, oko club. And here again, the kuli would be more like the literal meaning of running, right? It's an emotionally charged moment where he's going to be moving quickly. So it's not just that generic sense of travel that we'd otherwise see. So he ran together with his club. Yaka delayed mash kopa oko cool flutsman yaka throat. He really threw it, silent it, at that old woman, her throat. And maybe this is kind of a comment, what am I saying? An appositional remark. Delayed cockshit. So that's either it was really broken or it broke it. It smashed it. Read it how you want to. English comes in here again. Just a few minutes and come together again. Which again is sort of a pidgin English sounding thing, you know, not a standard sort of inflection on it, no past tense marking, for example. And the idea is apparently, according to Boas' published English translation, the club bit right through the neck so that the head fell to the ground. But after a few very short minute or short time, the severed parts flew together again. I imagine the narrator was maybe doing a lot of gesturing and so on to illustrate this, and lapsed out of jargon. Maybe he had a hard time saying it in jargon. Tsagatilao yaka patlat hayu lemetzin. So Tsagatilao, he gave, and sometimes this word is used for put in jargon, put on. Hayu lemetzin. So he gave it a bunch of medicine. He put a bunch of medicine on it. Hayas lele yaka mamo kopayaka flutsman. And by the way, what's the it? It could be on her dead body. And this is, you know, it's a legitimate area of jargon grammar for everybody to be familiar with. Once someone dies, once a living thing dies, it's very frequently referred to as an inanimate thing. So you're no longer using the yaka, you know, for her. So instead, he put medicine on it. He patlats it hayulamatzin. Hayas lele yakamamu kopayaka flutsman. So for a very long time, he worked on his wife. We've got a crossed out oko, this or that. Mamuk memlust. Mamuk memlust. So killing it, if you want to take the silent pronoun at face value, killing it, making sure that body was dead. Alta yak delayed memelosh. And delightfully here we have her being referred to again as yaka. I guess, you know, for clarity, whatever you want to call it. So now she was really dead. Tsagatilao yaka delayed, cut on the belly and long wait. Again, lapsing into English, pidgin style. Boas faithfully seems to record this indigenous style technique, which is well known within jargon as well, to emphasize an event in some way or other. For example, here that it's of great duration, you say long. right? I think that's what these marks are in his writing of long. And long wait. As it happens, long wait is BC jargon as well. Not just English. Yaka iskam yaka tum tum. He took her heart. So this is getting quite gory. Yaka iskam yaka tum tum yaka kopet, her heart that it stopped. Yaka iskam yaka tum tum, he took her heart. Yaka kuli kopa kam ski klutsman memlosh. He ran, again, we think it's ran in this emotionally charged situation of urgency, kopa ka mitleid, to where there was the new woman dead. Okay. Okok yaka o slutsman yaka tum tum, that old woman of his heart, the heart of that old woman of his, and for, and a blank in the, this is stuff that I couldn't read. I'm not sure, it might have been Boas lapsing into German shorthand. And there is somebody who has figured out how to read his German shorthand, who is working on this, and I'll be consulting with a little more. Alta Oku Klutzman. And then that woman, the young one, Yeka, get up, Kakwa, sleep. Right? In the context, we understand this. Alta Oku Klutzman, Yeka, get up, Kakwa, sleep. So she got up as if she'd been sleeping rather than dead. Tsagatilao Yeka Klush Damtam. He was happy. And then we have funny thing here. Oh, period. I think Boas abbreviated Okok as so Okok Klutzman Kanamox Yaka man Yaka Mamok Ipsut Okok O Klutzman Yaka body Kopa Ilahi. So this woman, together with her husband, she or they, Yaka, Mamukipsut, they covered up or they made hidden Okoko Tlutzman Yaka body, that old woman, her body, Kopa Ilahi, in the ground, so buried. And then a crossed out icht up there for one or a certain, but it's crossed out. Okay, Yaka Latet, Yaka Mash, Kopa icht Ilahi. Aha, good illustration coming up, folks, of how the word for one means a separate one or a certain one. So Yaka Latet Yaka Mash Kopa Ichtelahi, her head they put in one place. Yaka hand Mash Kopa Ichtelahi, her hand they put, or hands they put in a certain place. And this, I think, is wucht, meaning another. So wucht ich kopa saya. So still other ones, kopa saya, to far away. Gelapai. Here's one of the meanings of gelapai we haven't seen used yet in this story. So kilapai is not just return, right, but it's also to turn something. In this case, turn it into the dirt, turn under, we would say. So kilapai, silent id, saya. So turning things really far under the ground. Halo flaxta mamuk trouble. So there was nobody to make trouble. Kopa oko Tsagatilao tum tum. Kopa yaka Tschi Slutzman. This is a fairly complex sentence. I'm going to just fiddle with the page break to highlight. So you can take it out all as a single sentence together here. Helo fluxta mamuk trouble kobo kok Tsagatilao dum koba yakatski lutzman. So comments here, we have already seen trouble in this story. It's a legitimate BC word of jargon. Mamuk trouble, okay, cause trouble, literally. Haloflaxta is the subject of all of this. No, nobody to make trouble. Kopa ogo Tsagatilao tam. Again, for sort of your relatives and for your body parts, okay, for your inalienable possessions, stuff that's always yours. Jargon allows you to leave out the yaka, right? You don't have to say Tsagatilao yaka tum. You can be clear by saying Tsagatilao tum, his heart. Here again, there's no word for and, right? But the meaning is pretty clear, right? We're talking about a single concept. There's nobody to make trouble for, well, Tsagatilao's heart or for his new woman. So again, no word for and when the meaning is clear enough without it. Jargon values economy like that. Yaka flush tum kopa kanwai men. So he was good-hearted towards all men, everybody. And the document I'm working with, we're going to the next page of it. Is Dale still with? Yeah, you're still here, Dale. Any chance this no shegik is interpretable in your experience of Tsimshian languages?
Here, can I see it again?
I have it highlighted here in blue. Do you see that?
Oh. No Sakik, no Sakik.
No shegik.
Geek. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is, but I can't remember what it is.
Yeah,
What
it's
is
such a
he?
different way of writing. Yeah.
He might be referring to like the nos, like the no shikik, no shikik,
Oh, here.
like lachskik, lachskik.
Here's what
Oh,
the published translation says, by the way, the mountain lions. And he adds the children of Xamnalso.
lachskik. So, lachskik. That, okay. No skik. If no, okay. Desta gya khud khalawalam skustum Daniel Salmon kikas khalachaga Willu and how. No, there's not. Oh, that uses how. That song has the word mountain lion in it, but it's not that one. But lachskik is a skeek, I think is children, or it's something to do with all the crest names have skeek in it.
Aha. And somehow I got wolverines in here. I don't know if that's helpful.
Ah. No.
Kakaju.
Oh. Yeah, I'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
I was
All
gonna
right.
say, I enjoyed the last one. It really seemed like that wife of his was a that old woman of his had all the behaviors of basically a Bigfoot.
Uh-huh.
Right,
Kind
from
of
the flashing eyes and all the deliberately non-human behaviors, head chopping off to kill her and all of it.
There's resemblance to the basket ogress that anthropologists have, labeled further south on the coast.
Yeah, well, Bella Kula has that as well.
Uh, yeah, she's clearly, something else, so to speak. Okay. Well, so we don't expect to understand Tsimshian words in this. We take them at face value. So alta okok no shigik tsako kanwe, all of those no shigiks came along. Yekatiki, nanich yekamama. Again, the yeka is pretty obviously plural because it's all of the no shigik. So yakatiki, they wanted to see their mama. Yekatlap, ka Tsagatilao metlait, right? They reached, tlap, such a great usage, please know it. It's literally find or catch, but it's also a motion verb, and it's get to there, reach there. They reached where Tsagatilao was. Yeka asked Yeka, they asked him, or they or he, because look at this, ka naika mama. Where is my mama? They asked him, where is my mama? Tsagatilao wow. Elonaika gamtaks kaya kakuli. Right? He said, I don't know where she went, where she's traveled off to. Alda okok nosig. Yeka kamtaks yeka mama memlosh. So then those nosigs, they knew, plural yaka, they knew their mama was dead. And this time I'm actually noticing the passage of time. So I'm going to throw in my marker. We got this far on 0423:22. Well, hey, put it in and then destroy it. And save. I'll stop the share. So that's some pretty good stuff. That's a nice chunk of stuff. Very consistent, very, very consistent. This stuff matches, the features that I found in indigenous people's letters written, just a more pretty spontaneous form of expression in BC shorthand in the 1890s and stuff, that I wrote about in my dissertation. You can read the features I point out there. But lo and behold, this document from Boas of somebody over on the coast in the same time period, it has just all of the same features, all of the same distinctive Northern dialect qualities going on. And I just feel, among other things we can say, that's so neat that we can identify a distinct BC heritage way of talking that had very consistent structural rules and all of this. And we have chat here from Jessica, you guys, that the Xamnauso is in another Franz Boas text, and he translated as mountain lion, or in German, this is Norbert's cue. Do you see that?
Yeah, that would be a female mountain lion.
Ah.
I mean, it's also literally mountain lion and mountain lioness.
Ah.
Right.
Die Berglöwin.
Mm.
Uh-huh.
And
so that's the mama, right?
I was
Because-
thinking, is the noso or not naoso the part that signifies mountain lion?
That's also what I was
Some-
wondering, if that
Right.
word meant like child of mountain lions.
Dale, I think you said the suffix on it made it child of. Eek. On the other word, I mean. Yeah, what do we have?
I recognize the skeek as in Lach Skeek, the house of Skeek, but I can't remember which Lach Skeek I've heard before.
Good.
Let's see. We had no se geek.
Yeah.
And up here, Xum now. So I see what you guys are pointing out. Yeah. Maybe Xum and Noso are separate, meaningful parts of that name there.
That just looked like a form of a word like noso, nauso,
Uh-huh.
osho, but I have no idea how this language works.
Yeah. Somewhere I have a couple of comments from a linguist Dale is familiar with, Marie-Lucie Tapon, who has done a lot of work with Tsimshian languages. I threw some of these words at her a few years ago. I'll try to find what she said about all these. But there's a nice chunk of material that we covered today. That's very gratifying. I think it's a pretty decent lesson, as well as getting to share that exciting discovery of an old shorthand Chinook grave marker from BC. And we have a dictionary entry for Wolverine in Smalgiach Dictionary. Before I get out of here, I'm going to take a look. Nosik. Aha, Wolverine. Yeah, so there's something going on there. Gosh knows. I mean, Boas did not speak Tsimshian. He spoke jargon. And there's no standard word for Wolverine in jargon. There are ways to say mountain lion, but not necessarily standardly understood either. So yeah, he may have just been unable to figure out what his storyteller was referring to with this large, obviously large animal. So maybe it's Wolverine, maybe it's mountain lion. Interesting question to pursue. You guys did some great research right here in real time on that. You know, good job. I do have to get ready for my next job now. So I will say, Tlusan, Conway Clocksta,
We'll,
Tucson.
Hi, Messi.
Ayo Masi.
Ay, Masi.
Masi Asti.
Amasi.